What's the time? Oh, it's 2 o'clock. Anyway, I don't know what happened there. Anyway, how are you? All right? You joined me at 2 o'clock today. Usually I'd show you about the job much earlier than that, but the customers were going away today and they've only just left, so I've just been tinkering and doing what I can because they've been packing and up and down the stairs. Anyway, let's show you the job, and I'll show you what I've done today and how far I've got and stuff. So let's turn you around. Let's start down the bottom of the stairs. So this is my second job this week. If anyone saw my videos yesterday, you'd know I'd started another decorating job. So I've got this running concurrent with it, so it's going to be a bit of a pressured week or so really. It's Monday now, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The people have gone away and they're back on Friday afternoon, so I've got to sort of get a bit of a march on with this. Anyway, here we are. So a few months ago, I did some plastering in here. I plastered the ceilings, and they've had some under cupboard storage built. They've had new banisters and handrail fitted. The walls are just going to have a rub down and a paint. So just lots of preparation really. All the doors are being changed, so I haven't got to paint the doors. So I've just been rubbing down and scraping back and stuff really today. So let's start up here. So another ceiling there, what I plastered. Plastered that ceiling there, which jumps across to that ceiling there. Now, as I say, all the doors are being changed for wooden ones once I'm done. So I've spent the morning rubbing down all the door frames, scraping back everything, cut the carpets back so I can get right down to the skirting level. And so these walls have been overskimmed before. Not terrible, but not the best. So when I've had the old banisters ripped out, you can see there's old like Polytex, I suppose. You know, that stuff, that DIY stuff that people used to buy and just roll on the wall. So that's obviously underneath all this plaster. So obviously there's a bit there to make good. And then we've got the same down that side. So I'm going to bond them out in a minute so they can fill out, because there's a bit of depth. You've got two layers of old skim there. You've got the over skim and then the original skim. So I'm going to be spraying all these door frames. Doesn't matter if I go over the doors a bit because they're being changed. So I'm going to give them all a spray with a primer undercoat. And everything else is really just prep. So I'm just prepping all the ceiling ready for spraying. So that's really all that's happening today. Is I'm just doing a load of prep work. Let's have a cup of tea. Yeah, so it's 2 o'clock now. The people have just left, so I couldn't really get on too much painting and spraying today because they was up and down packing, and you know, I thought they was going to be out of here by about 8 or 9 o'clock because they said, oh, we'll be here for the first part of the morning. So I thought, well, they'll be out early, but it turns out they was here till 2 o'clock, which is not a problem, but you know, in your head you're thinking, okay, I can get that much done. So I can't really. So all I'm really doing today is just preparing. I'm scraping down everything with my good scrapers. I like to use these scrapers here all down the edges of the door frames and along the skirting line, especially down the stringer line down the stairs. I like to really rake that out and get all that old crap off, and you know, you've got a fresh start then. All along the skirting lines as well, because where this had been over skimmed, some of it had gone almost over the skirting. You know, you get that wavy line if it hasn't been done too good. So I've just been literally raking along the skirtings, getting everything back as flush as possible, just to try and make for a better job really. So I've been masking the handrail up because the handrail and the little tops of the little nail post tops, they're going to be in like a varnish, like a light oak satin varnish, and the rest of it's going to be white. So I'm just been taking time masking all that up because I'm going to be spraying all these spindles as well. I'm going to spray them with a primer undercoat first, and then they're all going in an eggshell. What I have got to do at some point is, they had a leak from upstairs and there's a bulging bit of plasterboard there. So I've got to cut that section out, obviously piece it in, and then skim this ceiling. But obviously that's not going to happen on this visit. And I'll see if you can see this texture. Can you see that build up of texture? It's like a vinyl. I don't think it's a silk. It might be a bit silky, but it's a bugger to rub down. It's quite hard, so I want to try and give these a fairly decent rub down. I do like them carbide scrapers to get all this out. You know, the bit where it's been painted over the years and the paint butts up to the carpet. You do get like a bit of a pronounced line there, so I like to scrape all that back with a scraper. It's much quicker than sanding. Sanding that down would be a horrible job. So scrape it all back, all the way up, and then give it a light rub down, and then I can have a good hoover up, ready for some spraying then. Right, so I was just at the stage, you know, when it's about 2:30, no, it's a bit later than that. Just at the stage, it's about 3 o'clock. And you're looking round and you're thinking, do you know what, I'll have early day and then I'll come in early tomorrow and catch up with what. And then you start looking round and you start seeing loads of filling, and your mind starts saying, well, you know, you should really fill it now. And then it's drying while you're at home, and you can just come in the morning and rub it down. And you have that little struggle sometimes. I don't know if you get like that, where it's easy just to go home and say, I'll come back early tomorrow and do it. But no, I force myself, because I know I've got quite a lot to do here. So I force myself to get the old filler out again. And I'm just going down the little stringers on the stairs there, where I've rubbed it all down. So I've scraped it all out with that scraper, and obviously there's a few bits and pieces come out. So what I like to do is just go down it with a bit of filler, just a first pass. And then when that's dry tomorrow, I can rub it all down and get a decent right angle. And then I'll probably get a little bit of caulk down it just to take out any little digs and dents and stuff like that. Is he having a laugh? Are you having a laugh? I was watching extras the other day. Do you know the Ricky Gervais extras? I know it was the David Bowie special, because of it's David Bowie's anniversary of his death. 10th anniversary. Are you having a laugh? Is he having a laugh? Stop me. Stop me from driving you mad, getting on your nerves. I think I'm driving myself mad, actually, on this job. So they've put all these lovely spindles in and that, but when they've ripped the old staircase out, I've left this. Now, you couldn't tell me them chippies couldn't have just just maybe done something with that. Just even take that out of it. I mean, all I'm going to do is squirt a load of foam in it in a minute and just let that pick up, and then I'll have to cut it back and fill it. But I don't know, a little bit of like thought from another trade for the next trade. I do, you know, if I'm doing something, I will try and think of the bloke that's coming on behind me, which is usually me. I'm the last one on the job anyway. But you know, if I can think of something that's going to make someone else's life easier, I'll usually do it. Even a little block of timber, you know, just to take that out. So this is classic overskim, look, classic overskim on the skirting line. I mean, I'm looking at that, I'm actually looking at this through my eyes, but when I look at it through the camera, it's horrendous. I mean, what can you do with this sort of stuff? You know, I'll put some filler down there and then maybe just cut it back just to create a bit of a straight line along there. But as soon as your plaster goes over the top of your skirting, you're on the loser, aren't you, really? So all I can do really is go over the top. What can you do with that? Just create something out of nothing, I suppose. I'll let that pick up and give it a rub down tomorrow. Let's knock up a little bit of bonding, I think, and just get that filled in and the other bit the other side of that, and then at least that's drying overnight then. That's that all bonded out now. That can dry overnight. Same with that bit. I can scrape that back tomorrow if it's a bit proud. That's not a problem. And then just a little face fill. Right, now I'm going home. I feel like I've done everything I possibly can just to let things dry. Right, something different from me on the way. I'm going to tell you all a joke. Now, this is one of my favourite jokes. It always used to really make me laugh. So there's these 3 British explorers, and they're all going through the jungle. Suddenly, they get jumped on by this tribe, this African tribe. And they all get taken back to the chief, stood in front of the chief. And the chief looks at the first one and he says, "You have 2 choices. You either have death or you have umbungo." And this young explorer thinks, "I've got a lovely lady waiting for me at home to marry me. I don't want to die. I'm going to take umbungo." With that, all the crowd, all the tribe cheer. They go, "Yay!" The chief drops his loincloth and he fucks this bloke up the arse. And the bloke, sort of after he's finished, the bloke goes, "Yeah, it's not very good. Didn't really enjoy that, but at least I'm not dead." Off he goes. The chief says to the second bloke, "You have 2 choices. You have death or umbungo." The second bloke says, "Well, I've got children at home, young children. I can't die. They need the father." He said, "I've seen what happened to him, but I'll take umbungo." With that, the crowd cheer. Chief drops his loincloth again, fucks this bloke up the arse. The bloke walks off holding his arse. He said, "Oh, that was not good for my male pride, but at least I'm not dead. At least I can go and see my children." Goes on to the third bloke. Chief says to him, "You also have 2 choices, death or umbungo." And this third bloke says, "I am an upright British citizen. I will never have none of that lark. I will be honourable and take death." With that, all the crowd go, "Yay!" Chief drops his loincloth and says, "Death by umbungo."